Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. My name is Aidana Almazova, and I'm a junior majoring in business administration with concentrations in finance and accounting, and also minoring in French language. I'm from Osh, Kyrgyzstan, and today I'll be sharing with you my summer 2017 internship experience, the lessons I have learned, the projects I have worked on, and the EPG abilities that I was able to improve on. And before I start, I'd like to thank my primary supervisor, Professor McCormack, and my secondary supervisor, Professor Hackford. And before we start, I'd like us to watch this short video.
That's good.
So some of you are probably wondering what that is and if you can buy it. Well, the good thing is I know the answer to both of those questions and maybe a little bit more because that was my internship. So Organic Transit is a company, a startup company based in Durham, North Carolina. It was established in 2012 by Rob Carter and Maureen Costello. Both of them previously held positions at International Human-Powered Vehicle Association, and they always expressed a keen interest in electric light vehicle industry and environmental issues. So their main product is called ELF, which stands for Electric Light Fun, and it's a solar-powered electric tricycle. I was attracted to Organic Transit for several reasons. The first is that their product ELF is revolutionizing the electric light vehicle industry because it is powered by the driver and the sun with the help of the solar panel on the top. And the second reason was that every ELF is custom made in Durham, North Carolina, so no third world labor is used. And the third reason was that ELF was a very novel and cool idea that I have never seen before, and I was interested in the business model of Organic Transit and the challenges they have experienced while trying to enter or maybe create a new industry. However, when I started searching for internship opportunities, I wasn't intending to be in a startup environment, and I was looking for accounting internships, but since I didn't have enough courses, I needed to pivot, and I searched for more general internships. And so how did I find out about my internship? And this is a very interesting story, because last fall of my sophomore year, EPG and Sullivan Foundation, which is an organization with goals of promoting social entrepreneurship, they organized a field trip to Nashville, Tennessee. And this trip permitted 23 students from Berea and other students from other colleges to interact with social entrepreneurs, to learn more about their business, about their goals and challenges, and see social entrepreneurs in action. And so Organic Transit was one of the companies that we had a chance to interact with. And after coming back to campus, I was very intrigued by the idea of ELF and by motorized light vehicles. And so I contacted the general manager of Organic Transit, and I expressed my interest in an opportunity to have an internship with them. And after that, I had an interview during the winter break, and I was offered a position. And so on this picture, on the second picture, Tiana and me, Tiana was actually the driver, and I was very hesitant because it was new and I wasn't sure if I would be able to manage it, so I was as a passenger. And this is me during the summer, and now I am the driver. And so during my internship, I was able to involve in different departments of the startup company, and I was in the midst of a life of the startup that was experiencing different challenges, that had many difficulties, but this helped me a lot to learn what actually an entrepreneur does and how the environment looks like in real life. And so one of the areas that I was involved in was accounting, and Organic Transit outsources its accounting to a local firm named Gina Scott and Associates. And so I had a chance to work with one of the accountants to help solve a problem related to cost of goods sold. Since Organic Transit is a very small company, they don't have computerized tracking inventory system. So what they did was perform a head count at the end of each month of all the inventory on hand. And they also didn't track cost of goods sold, so they figured out the cost of goods sold with the balance in the inventory account and then the inventory on hand. And so the problem with that was that there was a large variance between each consecutive month in the amount of cost of goods sold, which was unusual. And so my goal was to try to figure out the causes of the problem and ways to correct it. And so I found three problems. The first was that some of the elves were recorded at a certain cost, in particular the prototypes, but as they were moving through the accounts like work in process and finished goods, they were taken out at a different cost. And this caused for the cost of goods sold to be underestimated. And then the second problem was that the cost for certain bicycle parts like tires or nuts and bolts, they changed, but nobody kept track of that. And so since some of the parts maybe became obsolete, the inventory did not reflect the true cost of the inventory on hand. And then the third problem was that during the downtime, the engineers would assemble certain parts of the bicycle, like a handlebar or the back tires, and when they had an influx of orders, they would had to just put the different sub-assemblies together. And the problem with that was that each sub-assembly did not include the cost of each part, and so this also impacted the cost of the inventory. So I had to do several adjustments and make corrections to create a more accurate picture of their inventory and of the cost of goods sold, which eventually helped the manager to make better decisions and also have a more accurate representation of their gross profit and net income. And some of the other areas of business that I was involved in was sales, social media and marketing, and customer service. As part of sales, I communicated with potential ELF customers who were interested in purchasing one but needed more information, and so I tried to gauge their interest and help them receive the answers for the questions that they were having in their heads. And then I also had a chance to give test rides to people who were interested in the ELF and wanted to experience it firsthand. As part of social media and marketing, I created marketing brochures and owner's manuals because Organic Transit doesn't do much marketing, and all their sales come from just word of mouth or people seeing elves on the street, and yeah. And as part of customer service, I scheduled repair and maintenance services with mechanics. I created installation instructions for certain parts, like for example, how to install a new solar panel or how to change the fuse in MPPT. And I became very knowledgeable in the electric bikes in general. And while I was involved in all of these different business departments, I was able to improve on the main 3 EPG abilities. So the first one is dealing with ambiguity and uncertainty. And this is very relevant in the startup environment because the environment is very chaotic and unstructured since the company is trying to figure out new procedures, and there are many diverse tasks that needed to be done, and most of the time I never knew what I was supposed to do on that day. I never had a set plan of actions, and so I needed to be open to completing various tasks and having different responsibilities. And the second EPG ability is learning on the fly. So when I came in, I didn't have a formal training because there wasn't a set job description, and so most of the time I was doing things as I was learning them. And an example of that is I've never had experience with graphic design software, and so when I needed to create marketing brochures for the company, I spent considerable amount of time trying to figure out how and what to use. But as a result, now I'm able to create eye-catching and high-quality marketing materials. And the third EPG ability was taking initiative and self-management. So in the startup environment, when people have to be responsible for different things and everyone is busy, there's not much supervision. So I had to kind of create my own mini projects to improve efficiencies and standardize processes. And so one of the examples of the mini projects that I did was to help OT market their ELFs better. I researched different conventions, fairs, and events related to environmental issues, and I searched the OT database of customers or ELF owners who lived in that area, and I extended the invitation to them to see if they were interested in bringing out their ELF and representing organic transit. And so as a result, the 2 events that ELF owners attended was Boston Green Fest and the National Drive Electric Week. And through all of this, one of the reasons why I really enjoyed my internship was the organic transit team. These people helped me a lot to maximize my potential at the organic transit, to contribute to them, and I learned a lot from each one of them. And I continue to support professional relationship, and this picture was taken on Employee Appreciation Day lunch on my last day, and we all went out to a restaurant down the road on the ELFs. And so next steps, after having a chance to intern this summer, I'm definitely looking into interning at another company next summer. But this time I'm shifting my focus to public accounting industry because as I was in organic transit, I saw how much accounting is important in any kind of firm, but especially in an entrepreneurial firm, and how much it affects the decision making. And so I'm trying to search for internships in public accounting, and not too far down the road, I'm hoping to start applying to graduate schools to obtain my master's in accounting degree, and also at the same time, while being in school, to become a certified public accountant. And thank you for your attention.